The city of Xylar was built with metal towers that reached the sky, but its streets smelled of smoke and fear. The human named David walked slowly, his boots heavy with dust. He was a traveler, a stranger, searching only for food and a place to sleep, but on this night, something unusual waited for him in the shadows. A small voice broke the silence. It was weak, but full of pain. Human. Please, help me. David turned his head. His eyes scanned the dark alley between two broken walls. There, kneeling on the ground, was a young, alien girl. She looked fragile, her skin pale with a strange glow. Her large eyes shone with tears, and her small hands clutched the edge of his coat as if her life depended on it. He froze. His instinct told him to leave. Strangers meant danger, especially here, in this colony where humans were not welcome. But her eyes pulled him closer. They were not eyes of a liar or a trickster. They were eyes of someone desperate. My mom, the girl whispered, her voice trembling. They took her. They will kill her. Please, save her. I will serve you. I will give my life to you. Just bring her back. David's heart pounded. He looked around. The streets were empty, but he could feel the eyes of the colony guards always watching from hidden corners. Helping her could mean death. Still, he could not walk away. He knelt beside her, speaking in a low tone. Where is she? The girl lifted a trembling finger and pointed toward the center of the colony. A black tower stood there, iron gates surrounding it. The place looked like a prison. The human knew at once that it was full of guards, chains, and cruelty. Why? Me, David asked carefully. His voice was calm, but his thoughts raced. Why not ask your own people? The girl shook her head quickly. They will not help. They laugh at us. They spit on us. They want her gone. But you, human, you are different. I can see it. You are strong. You are not like them. Her words cut into him like a blade. He remembered Earth. He remembered people looking down on the weak. He remembered the times he walked away, pretending he did not see. He hated that memory. He did not want to repeat it here. Still, he tested her. If I help, the guards will come for me. They will hunt me. Are you ready for that? The girl's face lifted toward him. Her tears glistened under the cold light of the moons. If you save her, I will never leave your side. Until my last breath, I belong to you. The words shocked David. It was not just a promise. It was an oath, a vow sealed with desperation. For a moment, silence filled the alley. The human stared at the trembling girl. His mind told him to run, but his heart whispered to stay. Finally, he stood, his tall figure casting a shadow over her. Get up, he said firmly. Show me the way. Her weak legs shook as she stood beside him. Her small hand clutched the sleeve of his jacket tightly. Together, they began to move through the dark streets. Every corner was dangerous. The colony was alive with strange noises, metal machines clicking, shadows moving, and the sound of distant laughter from cruel guards the girl walked close to. Him, sometimes stumbling, sometimes whispering warnings. David studied her as they moved. She was young, maybe no more than 16 in human years, but her eyes carried the weight of endless suffering. Her clothes were torn, her skin marked with bruises. He felt anger rising inside him. Whoever had done this to her mother had done worse to her. They finally stopped at the edge of a broken wall. From there, the black tower was clearly visible. The gates were guarded by 3 tall aliens with weapons in hand. Torches lit the area, and chains clinked from inside. There, the girl whispered, her voice breaking, "My mom is inside." In the cage, David's fists tightened. He could see the guards laughing, as if guarding prisoners was a game. He could hear faint cries carried by the wind. He knew at once the girl's words were true. He crouched low, pulling the girl with him. "Listen to me," he said in a sharp whisper. "From this point, every step is dangerous. If you want me to save her, you must be brave. Do you understand?" The girl nodded quickly, her eyes filled with both fear and determination. She pressed her forehead against the ground in front of him. "I swear, human, I will obey you. I will serve you. Just save her." David pulled her up, his jaw set with iron resolve. His own words surprised him as he whispered back, "Then tonight, we fight together." The girl's eyes widened. A flicker of hope returned to her face for the first time, and in that moment, David knew he had crossed the line. There was no turning back. The wind howled across the colony. The Black Tower loomed before them like a monster waiting to devour. In the shadows, the human and the alien girl prepared to step into danger. A dangerous rescue was about to begin. The night was colder now, the wind carrying dust through the narrow alleys. David and the alien girl crouched behind a half-broken wall. From here, the Black Tower looked even more terrifying. Its iron gates glowed under torchlight, shadows of guards stretching long across the ground. The girl clutched his sleeve tightly. Her lips trembled, but she whispered, "She is inside, human." They keep her in the cage near the lower floor. David studied the tower carefully. He counted the guards 3 at the front, but more footsteps echoed inside. The laughter of men drunk with cruelty drifted from the windows. It was not just a prison, it was a place of torment. He placed his hand gently on the girl's shoulder. "Stay low, stay quiet," he ordered. His voice was firm, but not unkind. The girl nodded quickly, her eyes wide. They moved silently along the broken wall. David's body pressed against the stone, his eyes never leaving the guards. The girl followed his every move, her breathing shallow. Every step forward felt like walking on a thin rope above fire. At last, they reached a rusted gate at the side of the tower. It was half open, forgotten by the lazy guards. David pushed it slowly, the metal squeaking like a scream. He froze, waiting. His hand gripped the girl's arm tightly. The guards at the front shifted, one of them turning his head. But then he laughed and went back to drinking. David exhaled slowly and pulled the girl inside. Now they were within the walls of the Black Tower. Inside, the stench hit him first: sweat, blood, and smoke. The floor was rough stone, wet with something dark. The girl covered her nose, but kept moving. Her small hand pointed toward a dim hallway down there. She whispered, "That's where she is." They crept forward. There. Steps echoing softly in the hollow corridor. Faint cries floated from below, weak and broken. David's chest tightened. The girl's fingers trembled against his sleeve. "That's her voice," she said, her voice breaking. At the end of the corridor was a stairwell leading down. 2 guards sat at the entrance, laughing and throwing dice. Their weapons leaned against the wall. A lantern flickered between them, casting long shadows. David pulled the girl back. Pressing her against the wall, he whispered, "If they see us, we are finished." The girl's eyes glistened. "Please, human, don't stop now." David thought quickly. His eyes scanned the ground. A loose rock lay near his foot. He picked it up and tossed it down another hallway. The rock clattered loudly. The guards stiffened. One of them grabbed his weapon and stood. "What was that?" he muttered. They both moved toward the sound, their lantern swinging. Now the stairwell was open. David grabbed the girl's hand, pulling her fast and silent down the steps. The stone stairs spiraled into darkness. The deeper they went, the colder it became. Chains rattled in the distance, mixed with low groans. At the bottom, the air was damp. The faint light of a torch revealed rows of cages. Some were empty, some held broken figures who barely moved. And there, at the far end, was the girl's mother. She was thin, her body covered in bruises, her long hair tangled. Her hands gripped the iron bars weakly. Her eyes opened slowly at the sound of footsteps. When she saw her daughter, tears welled up instantly. "My child," she whispered, her voice hoarse. The girl ran to the cage. Dropping to her knees, "Mother, I've found someone. He will help us. He will save you." David's heart clenched at the sight. He stepped closer, his eyes scanning the cage lock. It was thick, sealed with a heavy iron clasp. Breaking it would. Be loud, but waiting was not an option. Suddenly, a groan came from one of the other cages. A prisoner, his eyes hollow, whispered, "Be careful. Guards come every hour. They will kill you if they see." David tightened his jaw. He looked at the mother, then at the girl. The choice was clear. He could not walk away. Not now. He pulled a small knife from his belt, pressing it into the lock. His muscles strained. The metal screeched. The girl pressed her hands over her mouth to silence her gasp. Sweat dripped down David's forehead as he worked the blade deeper. At last, with a loud snap, the lock broke. The mother gasped. Pulling the door open, she fell into her daughter's arms, holding her tightly. "You shouldn't have come," she whispered. "They will kill you both." But before David could answer, heavy footsteps echoed above. The sound of voices grew louder. "Check the cages." A guard's voice barked. The girl looked at David with wide, terrified eyes. "They're coming," she whispered. "What do we do?" David grabbed the weak mother, lifting her onto his back as if she weighed nothing. His voice was hard, full of steel. "We run." The girl clutched her mother's hand as David carried her. The footsteps grew closer. Shadows moved on the wall. The guards were descending. Their torches burned like fire in the dark. The escape had begun. But the real danger was only now awakening. The cold stone walls echoed with danger. Every footstep above grew louder. David's grip tightened around the weakened mother on his back. Her body felt fragile, as if one wrong move could break her. The alien girl ran beside him, holding her. Mother's hand even as David carried her weight. "Faster," the girl whispered, her voice trembling. "They're coming." David's eyes searched the tunnels. The flickering torchlight from the stairwell spread across the walls. Soon the guards would see the empty cage. Soon they would know. "Quiet," David hissed, his voice low but firm. He pointed to a narrow hallway branching from the main path. It was dark, unlit. The stones there crumbled with age. Dust fell as they entered, their footsteps soft. The girl clutched his arm, her wide eyes staring into the shadows. "Where does this go?" she asked. David's jaw tightened. "I don't know. But anywhere is better than staying here." They pressed deeper into the tunnel. The air grew colder, the walls damp with moisture. The mother coughed weakly against his shoulder. Her voice cracked as she whispered, "Leave me. Save my daughter. She must live." The girl shook her head violently, tears streaking her face. "No, mother, no. We stay together," he promised. David glanced at her, his expression grim but steady. "I don't leave people behind. Not now, not ever. Behind them." The sound of shouting erupted. The guards had found the broken lock. Chains clattered as weapons were drawn. The chase had begun. David's mind raced. He needed a plan. Running blindly through tunnels would only delay the inevitable. He spotted a half-broken door along the wall. Without hesitation, he kicked it open, pulling the girl and her mother inside. The room was small, filled with old crates and forgotten tools. Dust covered everything. Cobwebs hung in corners. David set the mother down gently. His breath came hard but controlled. He crouched, listening. The girl clung to her mother, whispering softly, "We will be safe. He will protect us." David scanned the crates, searching for anything useful. His eyes caught a bundle of cloth. He unwrapped it quickly. Inside lay rusted chains and a broken helmet, evidence of another prisoner long forgotten. Nothing of use. He cursed under his breath. Suddenly, the sound of boots pounded past the room. Torches lit the hallway outside. The guards were close. One stopped near the door, sniffing the air like a predator. The girl froze, covering her mother's mouth to silence her coughing. David pressed himself against the door, holding his knife tight. His heart pounded like a drum. The guard muttered something in his alien tongue, then moved on. His footsteps faded. For a brief moment, silence returned. The girl exhaled shakily. "That was close," she whispered. David didn't answer. His eyes remained sharp. His mind was already moving to the next step. "We can't stay here. They'll search every room. We need to get out before they circle back." The mother's voice cracked, weak but full of fear. "There is another way? Long ago. This place was built with escape tunnels. The old prisoners used them. Some never returned, but it may lead outside." David leaned close. "Where?" She lifted a trembling hand, pointing toward the far wall, half buried. Under stone was a narrow opening. It looked impossible to squeeze through, but David's eyes narrowed with determination. He pushed aside the stones, the sound of grinding rock filling the air. Slowly, an opening appeared. The tunnel beyond was dark, a snake's throat leading into the unknown. The girl's eyes widened. "We can fit. We can crawl." David nodded. Lifting the mother again, "Stay behind me. I'll clear the path." They entered the tunnel, the stones scraping against their bodies. The air was stale, each breath heavy with dust. The girl crawled behind David, holding her mother's frail hand as tightly as she could. Above them, muffled shouts grew louder. The guards were spreading out, searching every corner. The escape window was closing fast. As they crawled, David felt the tunnel shake slightly. Pieces of stone fell onto his back. The structure was unstable. One wrong move could bury them alive, but stopping was death. He pushed forward, his muscles burning. Finally, the tunnel widened, opening into a chamber with a collapsed ceiling. Moonlight spilled in through the cracks. The fresh air was sharp. Filled with freedom, the girl gasped. "We're close." But before they could celebrate, a voice shouted behind them. A guard had spotted movement in the tunnel. His torch lit up the narrow space. His roar echoed like thunder. David cursed, dragging the mother forward. The girl crawled faster. Panic. Rising, the guard forced his way into the tunnel, his long arm reaching. Fingers brushed against the girl's leg. She screamed. David twisted around, his knife flashing in the dim light. With one brutal strike, he slashed at the reaching arm. The guard howled in pain, pulling back. His torch dropped, smoke filling the tunnel. "Move." David barked. His voice thundered like iron. The girl scrambled forward, her tears falling. David pushed her mother ahead, using his own back to shield them. The tunnel rumbled, stones cracking. The ceiling threatened to fall. With a final desperate push, they reached the end. David forced the opening wider, shoving the girl and her mother through. Moonlight bathed their faces, but as David climbed out last, the tunnel behind collapsed with a deafening roar. Dust filled the night air, cutting off the path forever. They lay in the dirt, gasping for breath. The mother clung to her daughter, tears streaming down her face. The girl turned to David, her voice breaking. "You saved her. You saved us." David wiped the dust from his face. His eyes scanned the dark forest beyond the prison walls. "Not yet," he muttered. "They'll come for us again. And next time, it will be worse." The girl swallowed hard, but her gaze was filled with fire. "Then I will never leave your side," she whispered, "until my last breath." The night stretched silent. The black tower burning in the distance with torches and rage. But for the first time, hope flickered in the shadows. The night outside the black tower was cold. The sky painted with two moons and drifting clouds. David stood with his chest heaving, the dust of the collapsed tunnel still clinging to his skin. Beside him, the alien girl held her weak mother tightly, both trembling but alive for a brief moment. It felt like freedom, the cool air, the open ground, the distance from cages yet. David's sharp eyes did not relax. He knew the escape was not over. The tower behind them glowed with torchlight, angry shouts rising like fire in the wind. "They know we're gone," he muttered, his voice low but certain, "and they'll hunt us." The girl looked up at him, her eyes wide and fearful. "Where do we go?" David scanned the horizon. Beyond the prison walls stretched a forest of twisted trees, their black branches clawing at the sky. It was the only cover. The open ground would get them killed. He adjusted the mother on his back, her frail body almost weightless. Then he looked at the girl. "Stay close to me. Don't fall behind. If you trip, I will carry you too. But don't stop running." The girl nodded, gripping his arm for a moment before releasing. Her lips whispered, "I trust you." Human, they darted into the forest just as horns blared from the tower. The sound split the night, deep and terrible. It was a call to every guard in the colony, a call for blood. Torches appeared along the walls. Dozens of shadows moved quickly. Shouts filled the air. "Find them. Don't let them escape." The chase had begun. Branches whipped against David's arms as he ran. The ground was uneven, roots tangling around his boots. The girl stumbled, but David caught her hand and pulled her forward, never slowing, never stopping. Behind them, the sounds grew louder, boots pounding, weapons clattering, dogs snarling. The guards had released their beasts. The mother groaned weakly against David's shoulder. Her voice cracked. You should leave me." "Save her," David growled. His teeth clenched. "Not happening," the girl cried. "Mother, please don't say that." "He will save us both. I know it." Her words burned inside David's chest, giving his legs more strength. He refused to let this family be torn apart. Not while he still breathed. A howl split the forest, sharp and close. David's eyes darted. Around the trees thinned ahead, revealing a slope, downhill. He ordered, pulling them along. They slid down the slope, rocks and dirt flying. The girl screamed softly, but kept her grip on his arm. At the bottom was a shallow stream, its water reflecting the moonlight. David splashed into it, crouching low. The cold water bit into his skin. "Stay in the stream," he whispered. "It will hide our scent." They moved along the stream, their bodies half submerged. The girl's small hands shook, but she obeyed, holding her mother above the water, behind them. The guards reached the top of the slope. Their torches burned bright. Their beasts howled, sniffing the air, confused by the running water. For a moment, it worked. The hunters spread out. Searching the forest floor, their shouts echoed. "They can't be far." David urged them forward. "Quiet now. Step where I step." The forest grew darker, the water colder. Time stretched. Every sound was sharper: the crack of a branch, the splash of water, the cry of a distant bird. The girl's teeth chattered. But she kept moving, her eyes fixed on David's back. Suddenly, one of the beasts howled again, this time closer. The guards shouted in triumph. They had picked up the trail again. David's stomach tightened. "They're faster than us," he muttered. His eyes scanned the forest ahead, and then he saw a broken structure, half buried in vines, old stone walls, the ruins of something ancient. He led them out of the stream and into the ruins, pulling them behind a crumbling wall. "Stay low," he ordered. His knife gleamed faintly in the moonlight. The girl held. Her mother whispering softly, "Please be safe. Please be safe." The guards arrived moments later, torches cutting through the dark. Their beasts sniffed the ground, circling the ruins. David's breath slowed, his body pressed against the stone. His heart pounded like thunder. One of the guards shouted, "They're here." Torches surged forward, flames casting long shadows against the ruins. David's jaw tightened, his muscles coiled like steel. "They'll trap us if we stay," he whispered to the girl, When I move, you follow. Don't stop. Don't look back. The girl's lips quivered. But what if? Trust me, he cut in. His eyes burned with determination. I'll get you out. Suddenly, a torch flew over the wall. Landing near them, flames erupted, lighting the hiding place. The girl gasped. The guards roared. Charging in, David scooped the mother onto his. Back once more, grabbing the girl's wrist with his free hand. With a burst of speed, he broke from cover. Weaving through the ruins, the guards shouted, weapons flashing in the firelight. Arrows whistled through the air, striking stone inches from his head. The girl screamed, ducking low. David pushed harder, his legs carrying them faster than he thought possible. The ruins ended at a cliffside. The drop was steep, rocks sharp below. The girl froze in fear. We can't. David didn't hesitate. His eyes scanned the cliff, then spotted a narrow path winding down this way. He barked, pulling them along. The guards reached the edge, cursing as their prey slipped down the hidden trail. Torches waved angrily above. Shouts echoing through the night. David didn't stop until the cliff curved into another stretch of forest. His breath was heavy, his body aching. But his grip on the mother and daughter never loosened. The girl stumbled beside him, her face pale, but her eyes burning with fierce hope. She looked at him as if he were more than human, as if he were something unstoppable, human. She whispered between gasps, "You fight for us like no one ever has. Why?" David didn't answer right away. His eyes scanned the dark woods, always searching, always alert. Finally, he muttered, "Because someone should have, long ago." The sound of horns echoed again in the distance. The hunt was far from over. But in that moment, under the cold moons and the endless trees, the alien girl tightened her grip on his arm and whispered, "Then, until my last breath, I am yours." The forest swallowed them, but the fire of the chase burned on. The forest seemed endless, but David knew they could not run forever. His chest rose and fell like a hammer, each breath sharp. The alien girl ran beside him, her hand clutching his arm whenever her legs faltered. On his back, her mother groaned weakly, her body a heavy reminder of what was at stake. Behind them, the horns grew louder. The colony guards were closing in. Their beasts howled like demons. The sound crawled through the night air. "They're everywhere," the girl whispered, her voice breaking. "How will we escape them?" David didn't slow. His eyes darted left and right, scanning the trees. "We keep moving until there's no choice left," he said. His voice was steady, but his mind raced. The forest began to thin, the trees spreading apart, and then his stomach dropped. Open ground stretched ahead. No cover, no shadows, only moonlight on stone. Beyond it lay a canyon wall, tall and unbroken. The girl gasped. "It's a dead end." David stopped at the canyon edge, setting the mother down gently against the rock. His eyes narrowed as he turned. He could hear the guards crashing through the trees now. Their torches glowed like fireflies in the dark. They were trapped. The girl dropped to her knees, clutching her mother. Her voice shook. "We can't fight them all. They'll kill you. They'll kill us." David's hand closed around the hilt of his knife. His other hand gripped a broken branch from the ground. His eyes burned like steel. "Maybe," he said quietly, "but I'll make them bleed for every step they take." The girl's breath caught. Her heart pounded as she stared at him. In the dim light, the human didn't look ordinary anymore. He looked like a warrior carved from stone, ready to stand against an army. The first guards broke through the trees. Their torches cast long shadows over the open ground. They laughed when they saw the cornered fugitives. "There's nowhere left to run. Human?" One of them shouted, his voice dripped with cruel joy. The beasts growled, snapping their teeth. The guards raised their weapons, confident, hungry for blood. David stepped forward, placing himself between the enemy and the alien girl with her. Mother, his shoulders squared, his knife gleaming faintly. His voice was calm but sharp as a blade. If you want them, you'll go through me. The guards roared with laughter, one man against us all. But as David took another step forward, his eyes locked on theirs without fear. The laughter faltered. Something about him made them hesitate. This was not prey trembling in a corner. This was a predator standing his ground. The girl clutched her mother tighter. Her lips whispered, "Please. Don't die." The first guard lunged, spear thrust forward. David moved with brutal speed. Sidestepping, his knife flashing, the spear shattered against the rock as the guard fell back. Clutching his bleeding arm, the other guards roared, rushing him. David swung the broken branch like a club, smashing it into another's face. Bones cracked. The beast snarled and leaped, teeth bared. David dropped low, his knife cutting across its throat. Hot blood splashed the ground. The girl gasped, her eyes wide. She had never seen anyone fight like this. The human was not just strong, he was relentless. But for every guard he struck, two more took their place. Their torches circled, flames bright against the dark. Soon David stood in the center, surrounded. His chest heaved, blood dripping from his arm. The girl screamed, "Stop! You'll kill him." Okay. David's voice thundered back, "Stay down. Protect your mother." The guards laughed cruelly again. Closing in, "He bleeds like the rest of them," one sneered. David tightened his grip on the knife, his knuckles white. His breath came hard, but his eyes never wavered. He was prepared to fight until nothing was left of him. The girl shook, her tears streaming. She wanted to run to him, to shield him. She knew if she left her mother, both would die. So she watched, heartbreaking, as the humans stood alone against the circle of enemies. Then, something strange happened. The guards stepped closer, their laughter rising, yet none dared strike first. David's stance, his fire, his refusal to kneel it made them uneasy. One wrong move, and they knew he would take another down with him. The leader snarled, raising his weapon high, "End it now." The girl screamed, "Human." David's body tensed, ready for the strike, ready to spill his last drop of blood. But in that instant, a sound broke through the night distant. Heavy, a low rumble echoing through the canyon. The ground shook. Beneath their feet, stones rolled. Dust rained down from the canyon wall. The guards froze. Looking around in alarm, the girl clutched her mother, whispering in shock, "What is happening?" David's eyes flicked upward. The canyon wall trembled. Cracks spreading across the stone. A landslide was coming. He seized the moment. His voice roared like thunder. "Run!" He grabbed the girl's hand, hauling her to her feet. His other arm swept the mother into his grip once more. The guards shouted in panic as the canyon wall gave way. Rocks crashed down, smashing torches, crushing beasts, scattering men like ants. David ran with the mother and daughter through the chaos. His body burned with exhaustion, but his legs refused to stop. The girl stumbled beside him, clutching his sleeve as if her soul depended on it. Behind them, screams and the roar of stone filled the night. The canyon became a graveyard of their hunters. When the ground finally stilled, David collapsed to his knees at the edge of the forest. His chest heaved, his arms trembling from the weight of the mother he still carried. The girl fell beside him, her eyes wide with tears and awe. She touched his arm, whispering, "You stood against them all. You saved us, even when you had no chance." David's eyes were heavy, his body bleeding, but his voice was steady. "I told you," he muttered. "If they wanted you, they had to go through me." The girl's tears fell faster. She pressed her forehead against his hand, whispering the words again like a vow. "Until my last breath, I am yours." The night was quiet once more. but the fire of the hunt still burned in the distance. David knew they had only one time not safety, and, now, deeper than ever. They were bound together by blood, by survival, and by the promise of what came next. The human stand-a forest was silent now. But it was not peace. It was the silence before another storm. David leaned against a tree, his body heavy with blood and exhaustion. The alien girl knelt beside him, clutching her mother's hand. Her eyes were red with tears, but they still glowed with fierce light. "Human," she whispered, her voice breaking. "You can't keep fighting like this. You'll die." David wiped blood from his arm with the back of his hand, his jaw clenched. "If I die, then it's because I stood where no one else would." His eyes flicked toward the distance where torches still glimmered through the trees. The guards were regrouping. The chase was not over. The mother coughed weakly, lifting her trembling hand to touch David's shoulder. "You saved us, but they will not stop. They want us gone. They want him dead." David's gaze hardened. He looked at both of them, their fragile bodies bruised and broken. And something inside him snapped into steel. "Then I'll give them a fight. They'll never forget." The girl's heart pounded at his words. Her lips trembled. "Why? Why do you care so much for us?" For a long moment, David was silent. His eyes were distant, shadows of another life flickering across his face. "Because once I walked away from someone who needed me. I told myself it wasn't my fight. And she died because of it. I swore I'd never do that again." The girl's breath caught. Her chest tightened with pain, not just for her mother, but for him, for the scars hidden behind his strength. She whispered softly, "Then you are not only human, you are more." The sound of horns shattered the moment. Closer now, louder. The forest lit with torches as dozens of guards poured through the trees. Their beasts snarled, chains rattling. The leader's voice roared, "Find them. Kill the human. Take the others alive." The girl clung to her mother, fear choking her throat, but David stood tall, his silhouette dark and unyielding under the moons. He pulled a metal rod from the ground, broken but sharp at the edge. In his other hand, he held his knife. His breath was steady now. His body was broken, but his spirit blazed like fire. He turned to the girl, his voice iron. "No matter what happens, stay with your mother. Protect her. If I fall, you run. Don't look back." The girl shook her head violently, tears streaming. "No. If you fall, I stay with you. I swore it, until my last breath." David's eyes locked on hers. His chest tightened at her words, but he didn't argue. He simply nodded once, then turned back toward the enemy. The guards broke into the clearing, their torches blazing. They laughed when they saw him standing alone, his body marked with blood, his weapons nothing compared to their spears and blades. "Look at him," one sneered, a dying man pretending to be a warrior. But the human's eyes didn't flinch. His voice cut through the laughter like thunder. "I may be dying," he growled, "but before I fall, I'll take everyone. Of you I can." The guards roared, rushing him. The beasts leaped forward. David met them head-on, his knife slashed. His rod cracked skulls. His body moved like fire through the night. Every strike born of rage, of memory, of promise. The girl screamed as blood flew. She clutched her mother close, watching in horror and awe. The human was a storm, bleeding, gasping, but unstoppable. One beast tore into his arm. David roared and stabbed it through the throat. Another guard's blade cut across his ribs. He staggered but swung his rod, shattering the man's jaw. The ground was painted with blood, the air filled with screams. The leader of the guards pushed forward, taller and stronger than the rest. His armor gleamed under the moonlight, his blade long and sharp. "You can't win, human," he hissed. "You are only one. We are many." "Oh." David spat blood onto the ground, his grip tightened on his weapons. "One is enough," he growled. They clashed, steel against steel. The leader's blade cut sparks against David's rod, each strike heavy, each step shaking the ground. David's muscles burned, his wounds screamed, but his eyes never lost fire. The girl's heart pounded in her chest. Every blow felt like it struck her too. Her lips trembled with whispered words. "Please, don't fall. Please, human." The fight raged. The leader struck him down once. Twice, David fell to one knee, blood dripping from his mouth. The guards cheered, thinking it was over, but David rose again. His chest heaving, his legs trembling, he lifted his weapons once more. His voice thundered through the night. "I don't stand for me, I stand for them." With a final roar, he lunged forward, his rod smashed against the leader's blade. His knife cut across the alien's chest, blood sprayed. The leader howled in pain, staggering back. The guards froze, their laughter dying. In that moment, David stood tall, covered in blood, but unbroken. The girl's tears fell fast. Her voice broke into the night. "Human, you are our shield." The forest shook with silence. The guards stepped back, fear creeping into their eyes. The leader clutched his wound, his face pale with shock. David swayed, his strength fading, but his eyes never left the enemy. His voice was raw, but it carried power. "Come then, if you want them, you'll have to kill me first." The night held its breath. The human stood like an unmovable wall, bleeding, breaking but refusing to fall, and for the first time, the enemy began to doubt if even death could stop him. The clearing was silent except for the crackle of torches and the ragged breath of the human. David stood swaying, his body broken and bleeding, but still upright. The alien guards, once laughing, now stepped back, fear flickering in their eyes. Their leader clutched his chest wound, his armor dark with blood. The alien girl held her mother tightly, tears streaming. Her voice shook as she whispered, "He's still standing, Mother." Even after all that, he's still standing. David's grip on the broken rod trembled. His knife dripped blood. His chest rose and fell like thunder, but his eyes never left the enemy. "If you want them," he growled, voice raw but sharp. "As steel, you'll go through me." The leader spat blood, snarling, You're not even one of us. Why fight for them?" David's gaze cut into him like fire, because no one else would. The words echoed in the night, striking the girl's heart. She clutched her mother tighter, her tears falling faster. The guards hesitated, their circle breaking. Fear spread. Like wildfire, they had thrown everything at the human. And still, he stood. The leader cursed, raising his blade again, but his steps faltered. His men no longer rushed forward. One guard muttered, "He fights like 10 men." Another whispered, "He is not human. He is something else." David staggered, his vision blurring, but he took one more step forward. His shadow stretched long under the moons. His voice thundered, "Leave now, or I'll bury you here." The leader looked around, realizing his men were breaking, their courage drained, their beasts whined and pulled back. The balance had shifted. This was no longer a hunt. This was a warning, snarling in frustration. The leader shouted, "Fall back. We will return." The guards retreated slowly, torches vanishing into the trees. Their voices faded, swallowed by the night. When the last of them disappeared, David's knees buckled. He collapsed to the ground, his weapons slipping from his hands. "Human." The girl cried. She rushed to him, dropping to her knees beside his bleeding body. Her hands pressed against his wounds, desperate. "No, no, please don't leave us. Please, not now." Her mother crawled closer, weak but alive. She placed her trembling hand on David's shoulder. whispering, "You gave us life when we had none. You are more than we deserve." David's eyes fluttered open, his breath shallow, his voice faint. "Are you safe?" The girl's tears streamed down, her lips pressed against his hand. "Because of you, yes, we are safe. But you're not." David gave a weak smile. Blood on his lips. Then it was worth it. Her chest ached. She shook her head violently. "No. You cannot say that. You are not allowed to die here. I swore to serve you until my last breath. That oath means nothing if you leave me now." His eyes softened. For a moment, he saw not just a fragile alien girl, but a spirit burning with loyalty, courage, and love. "Then don't cry," he whispered. "If I fall, carry my fire with you." The girl's hands trembled. Her tears fell onto his chest. "No," she whispered fiercely. "I won't carry it. I'll keep you alive. I'll keep you here," with shaking arms. She tore strips from her own clothing, binding his wounds as best she could. Her small hands pressed against his chest, refusing to let him fade. Her mother whispered softly, her voice breaking, "Child, he gave us hope. He gave us more than life. He gave us a protector." The girl's lips pressed to David's forehead. Her whisper was a vow, sharp and unbreakable. "Human, hear me. From this night on, until my last breath, I am yours. I will serve you, not because you saved us, but because no one in this world has ever stood for us like you did." David's eyes closed briefly, his chest rising weakly. For a moment, it seemed he might fade into the darkness. But the girl's voice pulled him back, her words burning. Like light through his pain, slowly, his eyes opened again. He looked at her, her face glowing with tears and moonlight, and for the first time since the night began, he let himself believe. "Then I'll hold you to that vow," he whispered. Faintly, "Don't break it." The girl smiled through her tears. "Never." The night grew quiet. The torches were gone. The guards scattered. The black tower stood far in the distance, but its chains no longer held them. The mother leaned against the rock, her body frail but her heart steady. Her eyes glistened as she whispered, "He is more than human. He is the shield of the broken." The girl held David's hand tightly, refusing to let go. Her voice was a whisper, but carried the weight of eternity. "Until my last breath, I am yours, and under the twin moons." A new bond was forged not of chains, not of fear, but of loyalty, blood, and the fire of a human who chose to stand. The hunt would return. The world would still be cruel, but from this night forward, they were no longer weak. They had a warrior, and he had a vow that would never die.